All right, Hotep family. Where today we're gonna explore lesson 4 of Message to the People, or, in other words, the course to African philosophy. And of course, that's the name that Marcus Garvey gave this course. And this was a secret course. Okay, it's not really like, part of me for a long time felt like I shouldn't even share it because Marcus Garvey says don't let white people see this. But it's a published book. The PDF is circulating, and sometimes we have to realize that, or even let's go to what our ancient ancestors said, which was that wisdom is not something, or knowledge is not something that it's not like money which you hold on to, but instead it's something that you give out and share. And of course, part of intelligence is not to show your enemies what you know, and that's very important as well. But like I said, this is 50 years later, so our enemies know this, and it's more fundamental for me that you know this. So this is lesson 4. Please share, please subscribe, please and please listen. But here we go. Elocution. So elocution means to speak out. That is to say, if you have a tale to tell it, and tell it well. The idea of speaking is to convey information to others. Therefore, you must speak so that they might hear you. You must speak with dignity, eloquence, clearness, and distinctiveness. You must speak to be understood in the language you speak. You must carry emphasis when you speak. To be a good elocutionist, you must embody in yourself clearness of thought, expression, and action. First, you must feel what you speak, and as you feel it, express it in like manner. If you feel the enthusiasm of a thing, express it with enthusiasm. Speech and truth should be your feelings on all things. If you speak coldly or without emphasis, it is because you feel coldly and not moved to action. Every man who is not tongue-tied by nature can speak. Amon gave him a voice for that purpose. Therefore, if you have anything to say it out loud so that others may hear you. In addressing a crowd of people in a small room, you must raise your voice to reach the person farthest away from you in the room. If you are addressing 100 people, you should raise your voice loud enough in expressing yourself so that the person sitting farthest away from you will hear every word distinctively. And in like manner, if you have an audience of 1,000, 2,000, or 5,000, if you stand up on a platform in front of an audience of 1,000 and address them in the voice you would use for an audience 12 feet by 12 feet, the people 12 feet away from you will not hear you, and those farthest away from you will have to strain their ears to hear and understand you. They will become disgusted and walk out on you. When you have an audience, you must make an effort for everyone in the audience to hear you distinctly. You must pronounce your words correctly for them to understand what you say. You must not run your mouth into each other. You must not run your words into each other. You must make your words clear and distinct. You must not rush your sentences, but speak in short sentences that carry clear thought so that everyone will be able to follow and understand what you say. The idea of listening is to hear. When an audience doesn't hear every word of the speaker has failed to make a complete impression upon his audience. Probably the very thought he would like to leave is not sufficiently distinct and clear as to be heard. Therefore, the speech is in vain. All right, let me just say what up. All right. Let's go. Always speak in words that your audience understands. Never try to speak above your audience's head because it will be a waste of time. Nobody will understand you. The important thing in speaking is to be understood. First, always think of what you are going to say before you say it. Otherwise, you'll be regarded as a fool for talking nonsense. This section is very, very important. I want you to understand this section is very important in the sense that elocution is part and parcel of what got Garvey that massive influence that he had. He was largely considered the best orator of his time. And for what it's worth, I put down in the Book of Power more oratory instructions, more elocution instructions. And that's like one of the first chapters, or one of the first sections of the Book of Power. So, but this is just great to reinforce the point. So in a speech, when you start a sentence, always complete it. Never speak in long sentences because people cannot remember long sentences. When you are delivering a speech, do so with emotion so that you feel that you are saying, so that you feel what you are saying. Do not stand in one place like a mummy. People will think you are planted there. Put action behind your feelings and move as your feelings direct. If you are honest in what you are saying, you will feel it and it will move you. Always be enthusiastic about your subject. The way to do that is to know it well. Make your hands, feet, and eyes give expression to your thoughts. Never express what is supposed to be an inspirational thought without first giving expression to the thought. You can do that by movement of your body according to the response of your own enthusiasm. You must hypnotize your audience by expression. And this is actually, even though you can't see me, this is important. One time I did a podcast. And I was just laying on my back reading something. And you could hear the dullness, right? Because I was just laying on my back, not really expressing it, just reading a speech that I wrote. And, I was actually told to delete it, to be honest. I might have actually removed it. But that is, or maybe I didn't, but that's instructional on the part of what Garvey is talking about. Now he's, well, I mean, there were radios at this time, so he's really talking about going onto the podium and speaking, but this is actually something really important, because you're going to notice that a lot of our people today are very boring. Okay, they're very boring. They're very monotone, and even though they have the right information, it's very, very hard. Like you have to really like what they're saying in order to listen to them, and because of that, like their voices do not reach far, and they might say, well, it's because I'm talking obscure stuff. No, because you go look at another example, and you look at some of the quote unquote entertainers as they speak, and they're like for instance, one of the more popular ones, one of the quote unquote respectable ones. I mean, obviously not, that's debatable, but Umar Johnson, like, he could be memed, like he has this video where he's all donations, more donations. You see the enthusiasm, or he might show faces like, is that a white boy? Like he could be memed, and so he could actually reach a more popular, a wider audience than, I'll give you an example of somebody who I think is a little monotone. I mean, I really shouldn't say it out loud, but obviously, but Obadiah Combon, like he could benefit from elocution, particularly in some of his older videos. Recently, I've seen him on a panel. Amawale had him on a panel, and he was like you listening to him, and he's like, white people could just come in and kick in the door waving the 4-4, and you're like, like you just like you respect that, but as far as like once upon a time he would just talk like, and yes, what we need to do is Pan-Africanism is, and you're like put on the other person, but. And of course, he's not, you're not doing it for entertainment per se, but you have to realize that enthusiasm goes a long way. And more importantly, you have to realize that Marcus Garvey had that enthusiasm, your body according to the response to your enthusiasm. So you must hypnotize your audience by expression. And of course, like it works for the radio too. It works for radio too. You might be like, well, Oni, I mean, we don't see your expression. Yeah, it works for radio too. I might not be too enthusiastic right now. Sometimes I get pumped up because of my ad. I mean, it's like early in the morning for me right here. It's like 9:48 a.m. So it's not like I'm just wake up and I'm just, yeah, let's go. But anyway, let's keep going. And I think he's going to talk about that too. But let's keep going. Stare into their eyes and firmly express yourself. You must not shiver from their glare. You must make them shiver from yours. In that way, you will subjugate them and make them do what you want. This is made possible by your honesty of purpose and confidence in yourself. If you are telling a lie, you cannot subdue everybody or anybody who is looking straight at you, because they will see the lie in your eyes. If you have to tell a lie, don't look at anyone. Your eyes will betray you. Whenever you see a speaker look away from the crowd into the ceiling or at the walls, he is usually telling a lie. A person who is always facing his audience is never afraid of the truth. And this is another thing that you have to realize, that, and I mean, obviously this is something that can be done, on, like I said, radio, podcasts, so on and so forth, where you don't know where this person is looking. But this is why, when I was saying the other day, I said, look, in real life, people, like, if you look like in real life, I would give a better presence. It's a little more difficult. You're staring at a book. I mean, you're staring at an ebook, a PDF. It's not the same as looking into somebody's eyes, and talking to them, and letting them know, look, your ideas, let me explain to you the real ideas that we need to get through our heads, like I remember meeting up with this brother, and I said to him, like he was talking about something, and I was just like, look, all right, like he's like, let's say he's talking about he wants to be some revolutionary or something, like, oh, we're gonna shoot blah 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 blah, and I'm like, look, man, you gotta understand, all right, you look into his eyes, you say, look, man, you get that nonsense out of here, all right. You have to understand, you do not have organization. You're not organized, okay? And because you're not organized, you're not going to be able to take on an organized people. You're not going to be able to take on a people who subjugated the planet for how many years without you getting up and getting active in your community. All right? And if you keep talking that, you're not saying anything. You're wasting your time and you're wasting my time. All right? All right, anyway, you see what I'm saying? I had to look in the mirror for a second. It was just, I mean, it's a little harder to look in the mirror, but when you're looking at somebody, you gotta let them know. Look. Anyway, actually, I probably should finish that thought. Let me say, then you say, look, what we need to do is we need to build up institutions. We need to build these schools, build these academies, build these institutions so that our people can have a fighting chance if fighting must come. But as well, we have to build these institutions in order that, now see, I'm messing up because it's like, obviously a fake speech. You'd have to think about it. You'd have to be in the moment. But I'm not really in the moment. But you kind of see the tone. The tone. I mean, yeah, you might be like, oh well, you're kind of talking down to the person. But sometimes when you sometimes that's what you have to do. And this is actually very important too. You see, he says, well, not just subjugate, but he says earlier, make them do. Later, make them do what you want. You have to want to do something, and this is why in the pro-black compendium, that's what I articulated when I said there was 20 tips for, I think it was 20 tips for selling more, being more, all that stuff. Just being more charming, if you will, right? And one of the tips is that you have to have something in mind. What do you want other people to do? What do you want other people to do? Like, for instance, I might want you to read Message to the People. I might want you to read the Book of Power. Okay? I might want you to read the Pro-Black Compendium. There's something that I want you to do. I want you to, But if you don't have something that you want people to do, then, like, why are you talking? You know what I mean? I mean, there's partly like, okay, you can converse, you can build your knowledge base. That's fine. But again, like, why? Like what happens is that when pressed, people are going to be like, okay, what do you want me to do? Or what is it that you're trying to get me to do? Or what is it? Like, what is it? What is this about? And then you're going to be like, oh, well, I just, Like, actually, I think I had this conversation with somebody else before. They're just saying, hey, this person's so blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, let's say I go along with it. Now what? They're just like, well, I'm just saying, there's nothing wrong with me cataloging. And you're like you're wasting my time. But, all right, let's keep going. Speak forcefully always, particularly at the beginning, middle, and end of your speech. Start off in a low tone. Then 5 minutes afterwards, Raise your voice gradually until you have reached a convincing point in your speech. Then you may rest by lowering your tone, to raise it again to get renewed interest. Continue the same way until you are about to reach the end. Then redouble your efforts to win everybody over to you on what you are speaking about. This is called your climax. Always sit down with emphasis after you have made your speech. Then rise again to do anything else. If you have more to do, don't let the people believe that all your efforts were just to get a collection. If you lift the collection at the same time you make the speech, they will think so. Lift the collection immediately after the speech. If you made... Wait, let me say something. If you lift the collection at the same time you make the speech, they will think so. Okay, so don't ask for the collection. So what I'm doing, like, I'm like, hey, look at my book. Look at my book. Look at my book. He's like, hey, don't do that. People are going to think that's all you're talking about. I mean, look. My ancestors were like, I think both my grandfathers, or maybe my grandfather and my other great grandfather, were Maroons. You know what I mean? Like, we don't like working for free. You understand? like I mean, this. I'm reading to you a book. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not even like I've been telling you to get this book. I've been giving you this book for years. Like some people don't even know that I wrote a program. It was like a little game, and if you actually won the game, you would get this book. You know what I'm saying? like I've been giving you this book, tell you to read this book, and now I'm just sitting down saying, you know what? I'm gonna read you this book. But I don't like doing anything for free. You know what I mean? I do stuff for free all the time. I don't like doing anything for free because, like I said, my ancestors were Maroons. You know what I mean? We white man said, hey, we want to make you slaves, and we were like, nah. You got to fight me. You know what I mean? You got to fight me. That's it. So yeah. But anyway, it says lift the collection immediately after the speech. And look, some of you don't even listen to that. You know what I'm saying? If you get nothing else, if you don't want to get the whole book for free, at least let me tell you about my book. All right, let's say if you made a good speech before up to the end, they will listen to you. Even making a speech about the collection. Oh, see that? Look, even making a speech about the collection. If the speech was no good, you will have no good collection. You will have a no good collection. All right, anyway, let's go on. To speak properly, you must have good sound teeth. You must have clear nostrils. All right, well, that wasn't clear, right? Okay. Your lungs must be sound. You must have a healthy chest. Your stomach must not be overfull, and you must not be hungry. Never try to make a speech on a hungry stomach. You may faint and die before you are finished. If you have a nasal obstruction, go to the doctor and have it corrected. If you are suffering from lung troubles, see the doctor. Right? That's that COVID-19. All right. To be able to make a speech for an hour or an hour and a half or 2 hours, you must treat and train your constitution. I probably shouldn't make a joke about COVID-19. All right, your chest is the most serious part to be affected. If you don't have a strong chest, you will feel exhausted in attempting to make a long speech. To prevent this, eat as many eggs as possible. So this is probably not that advisable, right? But you should eat eggs at least once a day, not hard, but soft-boiled or raw, if you can stand it. Like this is a little bit. Eggs have high cholesterol. I don't know if you guys know this, but eggs have really, really high cholesterol. I'm not saying don't eat eggs, but I don't know about every day. You know what I mean? Whatever. Let's keep going. Although, look, this is another thing to realize too. That back then, these were like organic eggs. You know what I mean? Like back in like 100 years ago. Like, especially since since Marcus Garvey come from Jamaica, like these could have been organic eggs. So these could have probably been like, oh yes, let's eat these every day. They're good, right? But like today, you know what I mean? Like unless they're like organic eggs, and even so, like. But I mean, there are exercises you can do to work out your chest. Oh, you're breathing? Yeah, definitely do cardio. Do cardio. Yeah, do cardio. Let's see. This will strengthen your chest, and after a time, it will become so hardened that you will speak 5 or 6 hours without feeling it. This must be done regularly, as long as you are going to indulge in public speaking. You must eat eggs. He's really convinced about it. So, maybe you could try it. Like if you feel like your chest is weak and you can't speak for 2 hours, like go for it. I don't really know anybody who. I mean, I don't know anything about that because, like, I guess I've never felt that way. But if you feel that way, certainly look into like what you can do to, extend your speaking if you're looking to be a speaker. Although notice that this is mentioned to the people, of course, on African philosophy. So he's saying, look, every one of his students should be good elocutionists. You know, and it's worth noting that Carlos A. Cooks took this course as well. Okay, among other people, obviously, but he was just one of them, and he wasn't even like the main person. He was just one of them. But all right, let's see. You should also develop the disposition to drink water and sip it at intervals if your throat becomes thirsty and dry. It is the most difficult thing to speak with a dry throat. All the straining you do will be of no effect, because your words will be monotonous. There will be no harmony and rhythm. Soften your palate with water and bring back the music to your voice. You must never speak in a monotonous tone. Speaking is really music in another way. You must strike the different notes, play the different notes, and let the people hear the sound and the harmony. This is done by giving every word its proper note, sound, and emphasis. You must strike the right chord. For goodness sake, always speak out. Always speak loud enough for others to hear you, unless you have something to hide. The desire is to be heard. Then let them hear you. Most preachers fail because their congregations do not hear them, especially Anglican preachers. Negro Baptist preachers and AME preachers can raise more money than any other preachers because they talk loud enough to be heard and have more emotion in their expressions than other preachers. This is a hint. Such preachers are always fat because they always have responsive congregations due to their ability to reach the congregation and telling them what they want. If you want anything told, tell it, and tell it well so that nobody will misunderstand. You must open your mouth and not be afraid of doing so unless you have only gums and are afraid of people seeing the nakedness of your mouth. Always try to avoid a cold because it is ruinous to any speaker. Again, he's talking about wear your mask, wear your face mask. All right. Whenever you catch one and have to speak, go to the drugstore immediately and secure some speaker's tablets to clear away the phlegm. Again, this is like 100 years ago. You gotta remember. It is good to use eucalyptus for inhaling to keep the nostrils clear so that you will have a perfect sound to your words. Don't chew your words. Talk them out plainly. Otherwise, no one will understand what you mean. Practice speaking to yourself in your room, in your own hall, drawing room, or in any place where you will not be disturbed. Go to the sea, beach, or the woods and talk to yourself or to nature to practice so that you will have command of your expression and you will become accustomed to speaking. Never be afraid of your audience. If you know your subject well, you have no cause to be afraid. Always know your subject. Never make a long speech after 10 o'clock at night. People will become restless and move away because it is near bedtime. If you are called upon to speak at 10 o'clock or after, take not more than 15 minutes. If you are to speak somewhere, see to it that you are not called later than 9:30. At a certain hour of the night, people are restless and tired and generally want to go home. They are never inclined to listen to speeches. Never apologize for any other speaker being better than you. Just rise to the occasion and try to beat the last man. Let the audience judge. If you confess that any speaker is better than you are, even though you are better, the audience may still give credit to the other man because you said so by running down your own ability. This is actually pretty important too. So once upon a time, this is kind of like a historical thing, but once upon a time, black people would wait outside or wait at public venues in the middle of the night. Like 10 o'clock. So today, if you're going out at 10 o'clock, right? If you go out at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, you go into most people going out that time. It's called like nightlife. And they're going out like to the bar, to the lounge, to the club, whatever, right? Basically the dance, listen to music, yada yada yada. But he's saying that during his time, he was able to, and not saying that wasn't going on, because that probably was going on, almost most likely. But he's saying that during his time, he would, black people would get up and go to listen to a lecturer. It's so different. It's a testament to his ability, I think. I'm not saying that it wasn't normal or wasn't usual, but it's a testament to his ability that he can take a people and say, come outside. come to a public venue, get dressed up and come listen to a lecturer. And he's speaking. And they're standing there. And yeah, they're restless. Yeah, they want to go home. Yeah, they're tired. But they're there. And again, this is I actually wanna stop right here. I mean, not stop, but show you the ad right now. Because what I'm saying is this, that we can build a community. We can build a community or communities where this is normal. Where this isn't outrageous, where this isn't something to pause on and discuss, but it's considered normal. That, hey, it's late at night, what can I do? Oh, I can attend a lecture. And I'm going to tell you, like, what I know. What I know is that one way towards getting to that future is to secure power. And there's no better book on power than the Book of Power. And of course, here you're going to have enthusiastic me explain to you what's in the Book of Power.
Okay, so I know books, alright? So let me tell you about a book. Alright, check it. So the goal and objective is to be selective, electing for knowledge with the black directive, checking sources, heritage, and legacies, with the brilliance to defeat our nemesis. The Book of Power, so aptly named, esteemed and famed for informing the brain, and doing the same as the ancestors before us. Sankofa, that's the life chorus. Wisdom is the key against dangers. Either change the leaders or lead the changes. We are due in Africa with no strangers. Do you hear us? Okay, hold on. We can't continue to beat the second fiddle. African power is the end of this riddle. Let's build a nation, the likes which never existed. The motto heretofore, we persisted. Better, we resisted. Best, we building. We'll raise the roof and break through the ceiling. Peeling away the change we were given to stop just surviving, start thriving and living. Africa's about to host superpowers. China and US back up the time hours. No one can be free without freeing themselves. But freedom is shown and owned on bookshelves. The Book of Power, a key for liberation. There's no domination where there's education, because ignorance is man's main weakness. All are exploited if we don't teach this. Then the pages of sages, King and Queen, Akampong, Delaney, Dessalines, Nyere, Garvey, and Zinga, and Cooks. 500 pages surpassing most books. The task is told to bring up a continent. You will hold the tone for the confident. Have some pride and push forward your chest. Your leaders are reading one of the best. The book has science, covers violence, self-reliance, and does away with silence. The time has come for the work to get done and build up a land that be second to none. We'll organize, technologize, strategize a new Africa before our eyes, and blackness will be the complexion we see anytime we envision what it means to be free. So come join minds, read what is written. Here be solutions, no longer hidden. Nothing works in theory, all that works, works and works. So it's time to put ourselves first. Change the leaders and lead the changes. Tell your friends, family, and neighbors. Change the leaders and lead the changes. Tell your friends, family, and neighbors. Change the leaders and lead the changes. Tell your friends, family, and neighbors. Change the leaders and lead the changes. Book of Power.
Book of Power?
So the Book of Power can be purchased on Amazon. Just click on the link below. Alright? Shemi Amotep. Tulinde ma'at, tushinde is fact. Tulinde ma'at, tushinde is fact. Tulinde ma'at, tushinde is fact.
Come on. Hotep. Peace. Alright. Let's see, where are we? Alright, so I think it was this one. Always see that your clothing is properly arranged before you get on a platform. Otherwise, people may see things to laugh at. Be careful not to make blunders in grammar, because people may laugh loudly and expose you to others who are not thinking. Okay? You should not make any mistake in pronouncing your words, because that also invites amusement for certain people. If they remember nothing else, they remember such mistakes and ever talk about them and create prejudice against you for it. So be careful. There's actually one speech of Garvey where he's speaking and then he says something and it's memorable. Like it's almost like somebody who might not be familiar with Garvey might joke about it, and it's like it's pretty interesting. Oh yeah. I think it's like, for you, right? He used to say something. He's like, the background I'm talking about for you, and you're like, what are you doing? Like, what does that mean? But yeah, he's the best speaker of his generation. But anyway, look at that. I didn't even know I was this close to the end. So it's a good thing I put the ad before that, right? When speaking, you should always try to hold the people's interest in the best way you know. You may give a joke that is relevant or logical in emphasizing your point. Never give vulgar jokes. To be a good speaker or elocutionist is to hold a grand prize among men. If you can speak better than others, you have a natural lead among them. Glory in this and strive after it. Remember, Amon gave you a mouth and a voice, and you must use them for good results. Secure from any bookseller a copy of a good book on elocution and study it. And there you go. And like I said, I have one of the books that I'm selling is a good book on elocution. Well, actually, both of the books are two of the three, I guess. Although, technically I have more books. But yeah, thank you so much for listening. No one in the comment section, but that's all good. I'll probably hear from you guys another time. But thank you for tuning in. This was lesson 4 of the course to African philosophy. And I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you go on to read the book on your own. And, but still come back and listen. Obviously, join the Discord, request the books, and